Majapahit Empire, the last Indianized kingdom in Indonesia, based in eastern Java and existing between the 13th and 16th centuries. The founder of the empire was Vijaya, a prince of Singasari who escaped when Jayakatwang, the ruler of Kairi, seized the palace. In 1292 Mongol troops came to Java to avenge an insult to the Emperor of China, Kublai Khan, by Kertanagara, the king of Singasari, who had been replaced by Jayakatwang. Vijaya collaborated with Mongol troops in defeating Jayakatwang. Vijaya then turned against the Mongols and expelled them from Java. Under his rule the new kingdom, Majapahit, successfully controlled Bali, Madura, Malayu, and Tanjungpura. The power of Majapahit reached its height in the mid-14th century under the leadership of King Hayam Wuruk and his prime minister, Gajah Mada. Some scholars have argued that the territories of Majapahit covered present-day Indonesia and part of Malaysia, but others maintain that its territory was confined to eastern Java and Bali. Nonetheless, Majapahit became a significant power in the region, maintaining regular relations with China, Kampa, Cambodia, Annam, and Siam. The golden era of Majapahit was short-lived. The empire began to decline after the death of Gajah Mada in 1364, and it was further weakened after the death of Hayam Wuruk in 1389. The spread of Islam and the rise of the Islamic states along the northern coast of Java eventually brought the Majapahit era to an end in the late 15th or early 16th century. Ngaratkama, Javanese epic poem written in 1365 by Prapanka. Considered the most important work of the vernacular literature that developed in the Majapahit era, the poem venerates King Hayam Wuruk, reigned 1350–89, and gives a detailed account of life in his kingdom. It also includes information about King Kertanagara, reigned 1268–92, great-grandfather of Hayam Wuruk. Gajah Mada, also spelled Gajah Mada, died 1364, Prime Minister of the Majapahit Empire and a national hero in Indonesia. He is believed to have unified the entire archipelago. The principal poet of the era, Prapanka, eulogized Gajah Mada in an epic, and the first Indonesian university in Yogyakarta was named after him, 1946. No information is available on his early life, except that he was born a commoner. He rose to power on his intelligence, courage, and loyalty to King Jayanagara, 1309–28, during a rebellion led by Kuti in 1319. He served as the head of the royal bodyguard that escorted King Jayanagara to Badandar, when Kuti captured the capital of Majapahit. After finding a safe place for the king, he returned to the capital and spread the rumor that the king had been killed. He discovered that many officers were upset by the king's supposed death and that Kuti was apparently unpopular among the people. Knowing, therefore, that the king still had loyal followers, Gajah Mada secretly organized a counterinsurrection, in which Kuti was killed and the king was restored. As a reward, Gajah Mada was appointed as the Padi, minister, of Daha and, later, the Padi of Daha and Janggala, a position that made him a member of the ruling elite. Prapanka, a court poet and historian, described Gajah Mada as eloquent, sharp of speech, upright, and sober-minded. Gajah Mada's loyalty to Jayanagara waned, however, when the king took possession of his wife. In 1328, when Jayanagara was ill, Gajah Mada instructed Tansha, the court physician, to kill the king during an operation. Upon the death of the king, Tansha was blamed and executed by Gajah Mada. Since the king had no son, his daughter Tribhuvanna became ruler. During the reign of Tribhuvanna, 1328–50, Gajah Mada gradually became the most powerful figure in Majapahit. In 1331 a rebellion took place in Sadang, eastern Java. Gajah Mada immediately sent a military expedition to the area, but a minister of Majapahit named Kember attempted to stop him from entering Sadang. Gajah Mada broke the blockade and won the battle. Upon his return, Gajah Mada was appointed as Mapati, or Prime Minister, of Majapahit. At the same time, he took a solemn oath before the Council of Ministers that he would not enjoy palapa, privileges of vacation or the revenue from his fief, before he conquered the whole archipelago for Majapahit. When Kember and other ministers ridiculed this fantastic boast, Gajah Mada, with the help of the queen, removed Kember and his followers from office. In 1343, in accordance with his plans, Gajah Mada led a military expedition that conquered Bali. Tribhuvanna abdicated in 1350 and was succeeded by her son Hayam Wuruk, perhaps the best-known king of Majapahit. During his reign, Majapahit reached the zenith of its power and controlled the whole of the Indonesian archipelago. The young king seemed content to leave the direction of affairs entirely in the hands of his prime minister. The year after Hayam Wuruk's accession, Gajah Mada attempted to spread Majapahit influence to the western Java kingdom of Sunda. He sent a mission to Sunda expressing the wish of Hayam Wuruk to marry the daughter of the king of Sunda. The king consented and brought the princess, together with some of his noblemen, to Majapahit. They camped in Bubut, north of the capital, in a large field where the wedding was supposed to take place. A disagreement ensued between Gajah Mada and the Sundanese king. The former wanted the king to surrender the princess to Hayam Wuruk, but the king and his noblemen insisted that the princess, as the queen of Majapahit, should have a status equal to that of Hayam Wuruk. Gajah Mada brought in troops and intended to decide the issue by force. The Sundanese noblemen preferred death to dishonor. Instead of a happy wedding, a bloody massacre took place. The king of Sunda was killed, as were the princess and the Sundanese noblemen. After the massacre, Sunda seems to have acknowledged the overlordship of Majapahit for a time but, ultimately, recovered its independence. To glorify his power, Gajah Mada built a temple on the boundary line of the Singasari kingdom in eastern Java, to equate himself with the last king of Singasari. It was under his patronage that Prapanka began the composition of Nagarakartagama, the Epic of Majapahit. A law book that had a great significance in Javanese history, was also compiled under his instructions. Gajah Mada also played a major role in the direction of internal policy. He occupied numerous positions, including that of chief officer of the palace. The range of his activities was so great that, when he died, Hayam Wuruk found it necessary to appoint 4 ministers to take over the positions that had previously been the responsibility of Gajah Mada alone. Gajah Mada's death, 1364, occurred under mysterious circumstances. Some writers claim that he was poisoned by Hayam Wuruk, who had come to fear his minister's power. The evidence, however, is inconclusive. Gajah Mada's role in unifying the Indonesian archipelago caused early Indonesian nationalists to consider him a great national hero, and the first Indonesian university in Yogyakarta, established in 1946, was named after him. Hayam Wuruk, also called, after 1350, Rajasanagara, born 1334, Java, now in Indonesia, died 1389, Java, ruler of the Javan Hindu state of Majapahit at the time of its greatest power. Hayam Wuruk inherited the throne in 1350 at the age of 16, when the great Pati, prime minister, Gajah Mada was at the height of his career. Under the two leaders, Majapahit extended its power throughout the Indonesian archipelago. Its core area was directly administered by Hayam Wuruk, and the vast outlying territory acknowledged his supremacy, but he exerted little direct control over it. Javanese sea power was supreme, and Hayam Wuruk enjoyed an effective monopoly of trade in the region. Hayam Wuruk had no heir by his official queen, so he arranged to divide his kingdom between a nephew, married to his daughter by the queen, and his son by a lesser wife. In so doing he broke the unity of the state and allowed local potentates to seize control of portions of Majapahit's territory. After his death Majapahit rapidly declined and, along with it, the last great manifestation of Hindu civilization in Java. Empire, major political unit in which the metropolis, or single sovereign authority, exercises control over territory of great extent or a number of territories or peoples through formal annexations or various forms of informal domination.